y'all, welcome to Adventures with Aggie, brought to you by Coco's Coffee House. Today we have a first episode of our BMX series. We're speaking with Charlotte Worthington. She's a Team Great Britain BMX athlete, and she's going to tell us about her story. So please welcome Charlotte. Charlotte, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, thank you. I've just come out of a yoga class, so I'm feeling super refreshed.
That's awesome. I wish I could say the same. Mine will come later in the day. But awesome. Well, it's so nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here. I can't wait to get to know you a bit better and share your story. But first, can you just kind of tell me who you are and what you do?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, thank you for having me on the show. And obviously, Seth, my name's Charlotte Worthington, and I'm a professional BMX freestyler. Haven't always been, I've took a little bit of a journey into it. But yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. So I guess let's go to the beginning. How did this become your sport?
Well, I've always been to extreme sports. I was a super tomboy growing up. I took after my brother. He did skateboarding. I just thought, wow, that's so cool. And it wasn't just BMX, it was any kind of extreme sport, right? So I actually spent most of my years riding scooters, which was kind of new then. And it's actually very similar to BMX. Like, you have the handlebars and you learn how to ride the parks and the balance. So I did that all through high school, through being a teenager. And then you get to that age of like 18, 19, when you kind of think, oh boy, I'm leaving school. I kind of need a job. I need money. So I actually got a job in a kitchen. So I was flipping burgers, and I did that for about 3 years. And then while I did that, I also kind of was growing out of my scooter and wanted a new challenge, right? So to keep it fresh. So that's when I picked up a BMX, and I'd been on them before. I'd had a couple basics dialed, and it just kind of snowballed from then. And I was like 19, 20, and I'm 24 now. So to think in 4 years, I kind of went from, I'm just going to take a chance on doing this because it's fun and it's something I really enjoy and I am passionate about, to it being my full-time job. It's been a whirlwind.
That's awesome. That's exactly what happened to my show, right?
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
Something fun, and then you just kind of took it and ran with it, which is really exciting. I think I also had a scooter phase when I was little, but I don't think I was as good at it as you probably were. But yeah, no, that's awesome. I guess kind of a follow-up to that, for my listeners who don't know what BMX freestyle is, maybe they think it's those cool things you see on like TikTok highlights or something like that. Can you kind of just describe the event, how it's scored and how you would train for it?
Yeah, of course. So BMX freestyle started through BMX racing and through flatland, and freestyle was just people taking bikes to the skate park where you usually see skateboarders, and just doing some crazy tricks with them. And it started from there. And then over the years, there's become competitions, it's become a competitive sport, and then it's debuting in the Olympics for 2021. So it's completely brand new. As far as how a contest works, it's very similar to gymnastics or snowboarding, where it's a creative judged sport. So you'll have 2 lots of 1 minute runs. So you get a 1 minute segment on the course to go out, do your tricks, and you'll be judged in categories of difficulty of your tricks, your speed, your height, your bike control, like the individuality, the use of course, to name most of them. And then all those scores get added up into one final score. So you kind of want to be able to hit all of them. I mean, some people can score super high in certain categories and do well, and some people can score high in the other categories. They're complete opposites and still come out with a similar score. So yeah, that's how it works.
Awesome. I guess a follow-up to that is how are you making up these new combinations, right? Like, it's freestyle. Something new has to happen each time, right, in order to get points or something like that. But how do you come up with these combinations and things?
Well, a lot of it's kind of been done back in the day when no one's been around. And then for the boys, like, yeah, it's on this crazy level in the male side of the sport. Like, people are spinning the bike so quick, like just fitting more tricks into the airtime, riding bigger ramps, and yeah, it's blowing up. And then the female side of things is catching up. It's kind of at the moment with the rate of competition, it's kind of a race actually to learn the tricks and to bring them to the contest, because they're there. They've been done by the guys, a lot of them, and the girls are just catching up, and they're doing a great job. Great job of catching up.
That's so fun. I love it. I love seeing the training and tricks and things on social media. I don't think I could ever do it, but it's really fun to watch you guys do it. But kind of, I guess, another follow-up to that, can you kind of walk us through like a typical training session? Like, I'd imagine there are a bunch of different pieces of things, like you were just doing yoga, different ways to kind of prepare your body for competition.
Yeah, so a lot of the competition is mental, which is where my kind of yoga and that side comes into it. And then during a training session, it does help to play to your strengths and to like take what you're really good at naturally and take advantage of that in like the short term. But it's just a lot of practice. It's the harder tricks that scare you, trying to do them as much as you can to like, and a lot of the time you're controlled by the fear, right? So it's kind of getting over that. That's what a lot of my sessions are about at the moment, because when you're pushing those bigger tricks, you're always going to be scared. Even the big dogs are always scared. So for me, yeah, it's kind of that at the moment.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I was going to ask about the Olympics. You already mentioned this. This is the first year that it's going to be offered, which is really exciting. I love seeing all the new sports that they're adding, the Olympics and Paralympics. But how are you prepping for this? I know Team GB is doing some really cool things, but yeah, what's excited? What are you excited about? How's that going for you?
I'm super excited to get there. Like, as I said, from this kind of happy accident, like your podcast, this has just taken over my life for the last like 3 years. And it's something I've been working towards and building towards for 3 years. So I just really want to be able to get to the Olympics in one piece, touch wood, and be able to just do my best on that day. And I'm sure when I can do my best, the results will come. So that's kind of what I'm excited about. And obviously in the build up, I'm just working on like new tricks, hopefully something different that's going to get the judges' attention and that hopefully no one else has thought about or dares to do. It's kind of what I'm going for.
Awesome. I can't wait to watch in just a few months. You know, we're, 99 days out, maybe? I think yesterday was 100. Yeah. So exciting. Cool. Well, I guess this is something that I ask most people that are going to an Olympic Games or Paralympic Games. What does the road to Tokyo, like everybody says, the road to Tokyo, the road to London, the road to Rio, what does that mean to you? Like, for me, it's the social media hype, you know, all the tweets and stuff like that. I'd imagine that's probably not the same for you. But yeah, what does this road to Tokyo mean?
For me, it's almost kind of a little bit opposite. It's like keeping kind of quiet on social media and keeping your cards close to your chest and kind of just like grinding and knowing that it's going to pay off in that road. And I mean, you know, as I said, I've only been doing this professionally for 3 years. And none of us have ever been to an Olympics before. So this road, it's like, it's not there in front of you. We're kind of paving the way and kind of hoping that it's the right way. So yeah, we're paving the road and doing just, I think everyone's just doing their best right now. And yeah, you just want to get there in one piece and keep it together. Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. It's been a long learning experience through many highs and lows. I think you always say there's probably more lows than highs. Like, right, when you're learning to compete and learning to be at that level, it's just a learning experience and trying to, you know, you win or you learn. That's kind of the whole journey for me.
Definitely. And that's crazy that you've been doing this for 3 years professionally, and a year of that about has been during this pandemic. How has, I guess, your training before COVID, how did that change once COVID hit? I don't know anything about BMX parks where things closed. How did that kind of work for you?
Well, we were over in England when COVID hit, and England just completely shut down. The numbers were awful, and we went into such a solid lockdown that skate parks, the indoor facilities and the outdoor facilities were closed for 3 months. So we had no time on the BMX at all for 3 months, which in our sport is unheard of unless you're injured, because it's such a repetitive muscle memory kind of sport. There's no games, like you have to be on it and be awake. So the COVID thing, it was mixed emotions when it really affected the training into the Olympics, because I actually had a little injury at the start of 2020, just before COVID. So I already had some time off. And then as soon as I was coming back, it was straight into COVID, straight into lockdown. So it was tough to go through like a double time off. But at the same time, it's a blessing in disguise, because we had an extra year. Like everyone had an extra year, but like for me, it really helped after that time off. So pre-COVID, training's kind of like, it's almost a bit more casual. The skate parks are open all day pretty much. So you can like show up in the afternoon, you can ride with your friends, or you can show up early and you can ride structured with the team. And then COVID affected that by, we had to organize private sessions at the skate park. And then we had very structured sessions. Like we had 3 hours a day, which was a lot of time, but when you're doing it at the same time every day with the same people, there's no mixing it up. So it can get a bit Groundhog Day. I'm sure everyone has been there. Everyone has in the last year. And you know, I'm extremely lucky to be in the position that I'm in and to be able to carry on training. I'm sure a lot of people couldn't at all. So still very grateful for it. But yeah, it's a challenge for everyone. But you know what, we got into the routine and we made some real progress in that time.
Definitely. The trainings and things that I've seen on social media have been really, really interesting to watch. I guess people lifting crazy things, or I couldn't imagine BMX and what y'all were using to train and things like that. But awesome. Let's kind of, I guess, transition a bit into some of your memories. I know you've competed before COVID and now, but can you kind of give me some highlights from different events that you've competed in and some of your favorite moments?
My favorite moments would be kind of easy to point out. Okay. The end of 2019 was just like this whole build up, because 2018 was like my first year competing, so it was very up and down. It was like good result, bad result, good result, bad result, and it was, you know, it's kind of painful when you're competitive and you want to do well. Like, yeah, it kind of hurts. So 2019 was this whole building experience for me of like, right, I'm going to throw myself at all these contests, and each time I learned something, and each time I learned something different, and then I'd apply it to the next one and the next one. So I'd just be building and building, and then at the end of the year, it's like when all that good stuff comes together. So we had some really big contests back to back. We had the European Championships, and there was a FIS World Cup, and then right after that was the FIS World Champs. So in the Europeans, I went head to head with Team Germany, Russia, and Switzerland. So really big like competitors for me, and I managed to come away with the gold. So that kind of started this momentum of like, yeah, we're on the right path. And then the World Cup, I got the podium, like third place, which was first one since a year before. So that was really awesome. And then yeah, again at the World Championships, I again came third, up against head to head, like my biggest competitors on some of their best days. And yeah, that was when you qualify for the Olympics, and it was like, that's half the job done. You know, we've spent at the time 2 years of my life, like just grinding at this one thing. Yeah. And it was just a huge step and a weight off your shoulders to be like, right, we've qualified, like we're going.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, I guess follow up to that, what are you focusing on now, from now until the games happen? You've had these competitions, lots of exciting things have happened. Are y'all on hold, or I know you're still grinding it out with your training and stuff, but what's the next 99 days? What are they going to look like?
We are most definitely not on hold. We've not been on hold like since lockdown. You know, as soon as we were able to do, even in lockdown, we were training, but you know, even as soon as we were able to do something, it's been like go, go, go. So yeah, heading into the next 99 days, it's just going to be really solidifying the biggest potential moves that we've been thinking of. Yeah, there's like all the work, as I say, I'm just hoping that when we get there, everything aligns, all the work we've put in, that that feels all over the place. I'm hoping it just comes together and you're like, boom, that's the winning run.
I love it. I love it. Can you kind of tell me some of these people that have helped you along the way? You've had quite an awesome journey in a short amount of time. I guess your 3 years that you've been doing this professionally. But yeah, who's kind of helped you along the way? Do you have some role models or people that have kind of coached you through it?
Yeah, we have a rider coach, Jamie Bestwick, and I think he'll always be kind of top of the list for that. Him and his wife, Kerry. I'm actually at his house right now. I'm staying with him on the east coast of America in PA, so I can train at Woodward. And yeah, he's always been a bit of a guiding light. He's a multiple X Games champion. He competed solid for 20 years, and yeah, he's whatever I've done, anyone's done, he's been there and he's got through it. So he's always been a guiding light. And he's always pushed me in the right way. And then there's his wife, Kerry's always helped me believe in myself too. So he'll be top of the list. And then alongside of that, there's the people that you just make amazing friendships with that are just on this journey with you. Some people back home in Corby, like I moved out of my hometown in Manchester, which is a big city. The skate park closed and I was kind of faced with, well, do I live here and commute to a different park or do I move somewhere else? And I just thought, well, why not move to the best skate park in the UK and in Europe, which is Adrenaline Alley. So I packed my bags and moved there. And then, yeah, the people I've made friendships with there and who supported me when I've been on my own in a new town have also been on my journey. So yeah, it's definitely not felt like all me. It's been a team effort.
Definitely. You read my mind. I was going to ask you kind of about your support group and your team and how that's gone for you, especially during this time, and just kind of how you found that group at the beginning, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like if I go out there, I start BMX, like, I don't know where I would start as far as friends, friends and teammates and trying to create that community. So how was building that from the beginning?
I mean, from the beginning, it started with scooters, and I had many friends kind of like I had many friends the same age as me, like who did scooters. But you're also surrounded by all the other sports. So I was always surrounded by BMXs too. So I had those friends that have known me since day one, showing up as like a 13-year-old girl, just doing what she loved on a scooter. Like I must have looked ridiculous. But you got the friends that you know from day one, and they're like, geez, I remember when you were doing this, and now you're going for the Olympics. So they're all in Manchester. And then when I had to move out, there's not that many riders in Corby, ironically. Even though it's a small town with a huge skate park, a lot of people travel there, so there's not a lot of local scene. But then the guys that I did make friends with, like actually COVID was a big bonding thing for us, because I was usually away traveling all the time. I wasn't home that much to hang out. And then as soon as COVID hit, we hung out all the time. And I actually ended up spending Christmas with my two best mates, Ryan and Angelica. They welcomed me into their home. So that was very supportive when I couldn't go home to see my parents because of COVID.
That's so nice. That's so nice that I think the friendships and things, they have grown despite it being such a hard time, right? You're there to see who's there for you, which is really cool. Yeah. But awesome. Kind of wrapping up a little bit here, but what are your long-term goals personally or professionally, I guess, after COVID? What are things looking like for you?
Long-term goals. You know what? You get a bit narrow-sighted sometimes when you focus on that one thing. And I had to realize, like, geez, there's going to be life after the Olympics. Like, no matter what the results, like 2021 is going to happen, and then what? So my long-term goals is definitely to be a multiple time Olympian and Olympic champion. Definitely, because I'm only 24. I've probably got at least another 2, I'd say, in me if I look after myself. So definitely that. I want to work closely with my bike sponsor Hyper and be one of their top riders, maybe even develop some signature parts, and possibly move out to America if the training facilities over here kind of are doing the right thing. I love the positive attitude in America. So definitely do that along with the whole time I want to help female BMX and work with British Cycling they're really great at hosting events and inspiring the next generations come through, and there'll be a lot of opportunity there, so I'm hoping to be able to serve that.
You're reading my mind today. The next question I was going to ask you is about, I guess, how do you suggest young girls or women get involved in BMX? I know you're a huge advocate for that, and I'd love to help if I can, but how do you suggest that young girls get involved?
If it's something you think you'd like to do, then just head down to like your local skate park. And the thing I do understand that I often get messages about on social media is like, how do you make friends? How do you go and get help? Because it's so intimidating. It is a male dominated sport. And, you know, I'm sure to a young girl, I've been there myself, like some of the older dudes riding BMX or skateboarding, they probably do look a bit scary. But I can guarantee 99% of the time they're not. Like in extreme sports, like you got the tattoos and the piercings, but it's a great community. You know what? If I could recommend a community to anyone like young, then the extreme sport, BMX or skateboarding community is awesome, because you will find friends. Like just go to the skate park and ask for help. Like, hey, how do I go down this ramp? Hey, how do you do that? I want to try that. Stuff like that, and guarantee they will help. And when you make the friends there, everyone's there to push you. Like they'll want you to succeed. Like I get called out all the time by my own friends and my coaches, like, hey, you could do that 10 times better, or hey, why are you not trying that? And that's the kind of friendships that you need. And it's life lessons and believing in yourself, and like trying like over and over to get something. It's very rewarding. So I think you might have to be a bit brave to head down to the skate park, but maybe just look it up online if there's an indoor one maybe nearby, or an outdoor one. There's usually people about, and just get chatting.
Definitely. Great advice. I love it. Awesome. I always end my shows on what advice would you give to your younger self? I feel like maybe you already kind of answered this with giving advice to young girls getting involved. But yeah, is there one piece of advice you wish you could tell younger Charlotte?
I think I would tell her to just believe in herself more, and embrace what you love. Like I always embraced it anyway. Like I couldn't help but be passionate about extreme sports. But I think really believe in what you could do for yourself and for other people, and where you could go, because I had no idea I could be in this position. And I think one of the lessons I've really learned being in this position is confidence in your own ability, and having that belief. And I think that takes you further than a lot of things. So that's my advice.
I love it. I think younger Charlotte would appreciate the advice. I love it.
Don't know if she'd listen.
That's a different story. Awesome. Cool. Well, Charlotte, thank you so much for sharing your story and offering some awesome advice. This has been great to get to know you a bit better, but thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. It's been awesome.
Charlotte, thank you so much for coming on to share your story. Tune in on Thursday to hear Alec Bob's BMX adventure.